Once upon a time in a faraway kingdom, there was a princess with skin as white as snow, hair as black as coal, and lips as red as blood. Her name was Snow White. Her mother passed away when she was very young, and her father remarried a cruel and vain queen. This stepmother was very beautiful, but she was so vain about her beauty that she would ask her magic mirror daily, "Who is the fairest of them all?" The mirror would always reply, "You, O queen." But one day the mirror declared, "Snow White is even more beautiful than you." The queen's heart burned with jealousy. She ordered, "Remove this girl from the kingdom." The queen sent a huntsman to kill Snow White, but the huntsman's heart softened, and he let Snow White flee into the forest. While wandering, Snow White came across a small cottage where 7 dwarfs lived. They took pity on her and said, "You can stay here safely, but beware of the queen's men." When the queen discovered Snow White was still alive, she crafted a poisoned apple using magic. Disguised as an old woman, she offered Snow White the apple. Snow White initially refused, but when the old woman took a bite from the safe part, Snow White accepted and ate it. Instantly, she fell into a death-like sleep. The dwarfs couldn't awaken her, so they laid her in a glass coffin, believing her dead. Much later, a prince passing through the forest became enchanted by Snow White's beauty. He was so captivated that he asked the dwarfs for permission to take her with him. As they moved the coffin, suddenly the piece of poisoned apple dislodged from her throat, and Snow White awoke. The prince joyfully took her to his palace, and soon they were wed, bringing joy throughout the kingdom. When the queen's magic mirror declared Snow White still the fairest, she ventured to see the princess, but found her alive and happy with the prince. Unable to bear her defeat, the queen fled in fear and was never seen again in the kingdom. Snow White regained her kingdom and lived happily with the prince, her kindness, beauty, and purity of heart keeping her beloved by all. Thus, truth and justice prevailed, while envy and greed were vanquished.